there is always that one girl who thinks everyone loves her and thinks everyone is her friend. But honestly, just find her the most annoying thing ever. And when someone doesn't like her, she cries. Also, the same girl, to say that she did so bad in a test, she's internally crying. She tells you she got 98%. And then she asks you what you got. You tell her you got 78%. And then she says, oh my god, that's so good. Like, no. You literally just said that you got such a bad score. I got so much lower than you. And you told me mine is good. Make that make sense. Is it just me, or like whenever I'm watching a TV show and they have the most dramatic cuts ever, I wonder what happens after they cut the scene. Like in real life, there aren't any cuts, so if you do like an embarrassing thing, everyone's gonna laugh or like point or something. But then in movies and TV shows, they just cut the scene and then move on to the next scene. So the characters in that show or movie don't have to feel the embarrassment, if you know what I mean. Also, whenever I'm watching a movie that has their character go underwater, I also hold my breath to see if I would have survived.
So when I was like 5 and my brother was like 8, he and I would fight like all the time. It would drive my mom insane. So this one time we were driving in the car and we were fighting, and then my mom like pulled over off the side of the road and then was like, if you guys start fighting one more time, I'm gonna drop you off the side of the road. I just completely ignored her and we started fighting again. As soon as we started fighting again, then she again pulled off on the side of the road and was like, get out of my car. And we were like, huh? And so we got out of the car. We were probably like, I don't know, 3 or 4 blocks away from my house. And then my mom drove away. And just as my mom like drove away, my grandma came driving through and she saw us. So my mom's plan was to drive around the corner like, just to scare us and to pick us back up. But my grandma saw us and she picked us up and she was like, what happened? We were like, our mom dropped us off the.
When and if this generation gets older, we are going to be some wild old people. Just imagine us at the retirement home after decades of memes have rotted our minds. And we're just like, I can't even call my family anymore. The only number I remember is 877 cash now. It's not like our family's gonna want to hear from us anyway. Like, we're gonna be annoying, right? Because we don't have old people hobbies to share with our grandkids. Like, my grandma taught me how to knit. My grandpa used to take me to baseball games. Our poor grandkids are just gonna be like, Grandma, I don't want to go live on Twitch with you anymore. It's been 65 years. I don't think you're gonna make it as a gamer. Shut up, Billy, and say hi to chat. That poor Billy's not gonna get anything done. Grandma, stop airdropping me memes. It's 3 in the morning. I have school tomorrow. It's not all bad. I really think the retirement home is going to be amazing. Cause we're not gonna do bingo days. That's not us. We're gonna do Scholastic Book Fair days. What did you get? You got the world record book? Oh, I got a bendy pen. Helps with my arthritis.
One day, we were in class. I was in band at the time, and the classroom phone rang, and the teacher went and he answered the phone. He got really serious. He got this really concerned, shocked look on his face, and he hung it up and he turned to us and he said, everybody sit down, be quiet. The bell's going to ring in a couple minutes. You're going to stay seated. And then he went over to the doors and he locked them. First, some of us were like, well, is it a bomb threat? Because we used to get bomb threats all the time. But then we realized that doesn't make sense because when we get a bomb threat, they evacuate us. And then we're like, is there some type of killer in the school? Is there a weather alert? The teacher wouldn't answer any questions. He was told not to. And the bell rang. We all stayed seated and we sat there for a really, really long time. And then the next bell rang, which means a whole other class period had passed. And still he said, stay seated. And I can't tell you how long we were trapped in this room and nobody was telling us what was going on.
We literally had that one kid in primary school who would literally ruin everything for the class. Like, say if the teacher was doing that 1 minute in silence thing because we were talking too much in the lesson, and then we'd lose a minute of our break time. But if someone as such as made a sound, then we'd have to start all over again, blah de blah de blah. There would always be that one kid who thought he was an actual comedian because he kept on making bloody gorilla noises in the 1 minute of silence, and then we'd have to keep on starting the time all over and all over again, and this dude just wouldn't stop. And he was not even funny. He sounded like a bloody demented goose. Like, are you okay? And then we'd get onto the playground, and then there'd be these group of boys who were hella mad, and they were like, oh my god, you lost 5 minutes on our break time, fight me. And then there'd be year 6 beef, and then we'd have that depressing talk with the teacher about how, oh my god, you're the top of the year, we look up to you, you should be better than this. Here's a short story which happened to me years ago. I was in the mall with my mom. We were shopping for clothes. I was small, okay? And when we were going up the escalators, I let go of my mom's hand. Then, When I held her hand again, it was not my mom. She just happened to have the same coat as my mom. Then I had to run in embarrassment and pray to God that I never see her again.
Hey Siri, I failed my final exams. Can you tell me a joke to cheer me up?
What's the difference between you and your grandma? Your grandma passed.
Story time about the time a nail salon took advantage of my blindness. My sister and I got our nails done. We used to go all the time, and while the lady was doing my nails, she asked me how I knew how much money I had. At the time, I used cash, never again after this, but I told her that I folded my bills a certain way. I told her that I folded my 20s different than my 10s, different than my 5s, different than my 1s. Anything of her asking that question, I think it's a good question, and I just thought she was curious. I got done with my nails, she walked me towards the front, and my sister was actually just finishing up with hers, so it was perfect. There's another man at the front, and he asked me how I knew how much money I had. I told him the same thing. Before I left to go to the nail salon, I made sure exactly how much money I had. My sister helped me count it, helped me make sure that I folded the right bills, just so I knew how much I had, how much I would spend. I gave her the money. Positive that I gave her the right amount because it was just folded, it was folded perfectly, and I counted it out. She takes it, starts talking in a different language, and then tells me that I owe her $20 more. I didn't, and I told her the exact amount I gave her, and she's like, no, you didn't give me this amount, you gave me that amount. Like from part 2. The time a nail salon took advantage of my blindness. We go back and forth a few times. I'm positive that I gave her the right amount, really counting it back to her, and she's like, no, you're wrong. And at this point, more people are walking into the salon, so I'm getting really uncomfortable. Back at it, I should have pulled out my phone that has a money reader on it and read her the money using my screen reader, but I was super uncomfortable and more people were walking in, and I just wanted to leave it at that. My sister was paying somewhere else. I had no idea where she was, and I didn't want to call out to her or anything. So when we got home, I wanted to double check that these people were actually scamming me. My sister helped me look at the money, and aside from the amount I paid for my nails, obviously in the tip, I was missing $20. I think we can learn something from most situations, and this situation just taught me to not carry around cash. I never went to that nail salon again. I actually got my nails somewhere else today, and I think they look pretty good. I mean, I can't see them, but let me know.
Boy, do I have an embarrassing story for you. So a couple days ago, I went to Target with my mom, and I told her, okay, mom, while you shop, I'm just gonna go in the electronics section. But to get over there, I had to cross the baby aisle. So, I'm walking over, and there's this mom with her baby, and I guess she didn't hear me behind her. But let's just say she, let one slide. Like, I'm telling you, it literally rattled the entire store. And again, she didn't know I was behind her. So I quickly did a 360 and went right back where I came from. And I think she heard me because I just wanted to get out of there because it was so embarrassing. And I literally overheard her saying to her baby, she blamed it on her baby, and she said, oh honey, you must have gas.
In English class, our English teacher was going through the rules again, just because I guess some people were forgetting them or breaking the rules. So anyway, she was like, just to remind you guys, there's no food in class, no talking to your neighbor without permission, and if I catch you with your phones, then you're gonna have it taken away and your parents are gonna have to come get it. And when she said that part about the phones, this kid raised his hand, and he's a really creepy kid. And he was like, well, what if I shoot you? Hold up. What? You just threatened to shoot a teacher? So I just looked at him and I scooped my desk away, and the whole class went silent. Nobody said anything. We were all just staring at him. We were all just in shock. Did he just threaten to shoot a teacher? After 10 seconds of it being completely silent, he reached in his backpack. After he said he was going to shoot somebody with a gun. That's when the class went into full-on panic. The kid sitting across from us tackled into the ground, and Miss Bauer was able to grab his backpack and get it away from him, and somebody else ran down to the office super quick and got the police officer to come and get him. It was so scary. The whole school was in lockdown, and they wouldn't tell us if he had a gun or not. They just wouldn't tell us. We were all just wondering, and people were crying and texting their parents. Oh my gosh, it was the worst. Anyways, I get an email 3 hours after school gets out. They were like, well, he didn't have a gun. He was just kidding around, but we're gonna take disciplinary measures. Disciplinary measures? No, that could be put in jail. But yeah, so he didn't have a gun, and I'm really grateful for that. Just so you know, it is not okay to threaten anybody with a gun, especially at school.
One time I was playing WAP in the car and my mom said, "What is this garbage?" I said it's by Cardi B and it's called WAP. She asked me what WAP means and I froze and said it means worship and pray. She said okay and that was that. When we got home later she posted to her church group on Facebook saying let's all WAP. All her church group members were replying saying yes, when we meet up we should WAP for each other. They then changed their church group name to the WAP Sisters. I still haven't told her what it really means, lol.
The late person. Like, I am late for everything. Not only am I the person who's always coming up late to anything, but I am also the person who is late mentally. Like, someone will be telling a joke or something, and like 5 minutes later when the whole conversation has changed, I'll be like, oh, or like laughing my head off, and they'll be so confused. They'll be like, what? Why are you laughing? Are you okay? Yeah, I am that friend.
Last night, something a little scary happened. So I would call myself a relatively deep sleeper, and I don't really wake up in the middle of the night that much, or I haven't recently. And that was up until last night. So last night I went to bed around like 1 a.m. And when I say I passed out. So I'm sleeping and all of a sudden I wake up at around 3:53 a.m. And when I woke up, for some reason, I was wide awake, not tired at all, not groggy, nothing. So I sit up out of my bed, and I start looking around when I notice the living room lights right next to my room are on, even though I fall asleep with them off every night. And I have like this tapestry covering my room from the living room. And since the lights were on, I could see into the living room. And I saw somebody standing right here. Right here. So I jumped out of bed, swung the curtain open, and nobody was there. I'm really hoping that was just a dream.
So when I was little, all my friends were wearing crop tops. I really wanted to wear one, but my mom, of course, wouldn't let me. So I was really, really mad. And one day I went to my friend Stella's house, and she gave me a hand-me-down. She gave me a few hand-me-downs, and I looked through them, and one of them was a crop top. I put it on, and my mom saw me with it on. She was like, "What are you wearing?" I was like, "Mom, it's a crop top." And she was really mad, but she said, "Okay, fine, you can wear it only at our house." And I was like, fine, at least I get to wear one. And a day comes where I go to the beach with my friend Isla, and we end up having a sleepover, and I remember about my crop top, and I literally threw it on. I was like, yes, crop top. And then I barge into the room where my mom is. I'm like, "Mom, I'm wearing a crop top, and you can't stop me because I'm at home." And my friend looked at me so weird, and I have not talked to her since.
You know, one of those really annoying teachers that when they ask the class a question and like 10 other people have their hands up, but they just have to choose you. And it turns out you haven't actually been paying any attention to the lesson, so you have no clue what the hell the answer is and just end up embarrassing yourself by either saying a completely wrong answer or just saying, I don't know, which also makes the teacher hate you even more than they already do. So now you have no chance on passing any tests.